Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review, and next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series Super Villains Wave 1 Xemnu Build-A-Figure. Here we have Marvel's The Hood. I'm going to try and keep this review a little bit short because, for one, this isn't going to be that great of a figure. I know a lot of people wanted him, but then when you get the figure and you see it and you're like, oh. It's just because the body is just not the best, not the most dynamic. The hood looks cool, but you're not going to be able to get a whole lot of movement out of there. It's a very plain, basic figure in my opinion. But, I mean, it works because, I mean, look at the character design from the artwork. It jumps right out of the comic book pages, but it just doesn't look all that great, and it's not all super appealing. You know, the funny thing is when they announced it, I think Ryan Ting had joked about, oh, it's, you know, the scalper, why aren't exclusives available and stuff like that. So it's funny, but just not a whole lot going on for it. Side artwork does look pretty good. It shows the hood kind of blowing in the wind, which can't happen with the super heavy, like thick rubber hood and cape, so it just kind of sucks from that aspect. But here we have all the figures in the wave. We looked at Dr. Doom and Dormammu already. We're on the hood. Next up will be Lady Deathstrike, then Arcade, then Red Skull, then the a.i.m Scientist Supreme, and then we'll take a look at Xemnu. The bio for the hood reads, a chance encounter with a demon gives petty thief Parker Robbins a mystical cloak and transforms him into a true criminal menace. Yeah, okay. I mean, he's got these effect pieces that will port into the gun, which is cool. And then the guns are two handguns that are actually like real guns, real looking guns. So that is pretty cool. But let's get this guy out of the box. Okay, so here is the hood figure out of the package. He comes with, it looks like the left leg to the Xemnu Build-A-Figure, which I think is just the Sasquatch Wendigo legs. The feet are different. But here's the figure. Yeah, it's just... yeah, so let's zoom in on the accessories and then we'll take a closer look at the figure. Okay, so we get two Desert Eagle looking handguns, and these look actually very good. They're all just done in a black plastic color. You get two of these. They are the exact same, but they look pretty good. And then we get this bullet shooting effect that looks very phallic. We're going to leave it at that. It's kind of cool. We get the spiral flame effect on there, which is pretty cool. You can see how it connects to like the bullet blast effect right there. So the flame kind of spirals around that. And then here on this end flame portion is where it just ports right on into the tip of the gun, like so. So it looks like, you know, he's blasting and shooting off, firing off a bullet out of the gun there. So it's... I don't know. It's cool. I like the concept. I just don't think this came out all that great. I think it, again, just it's very phallic looking. I think they could have used a different type of effect to give it that look. But it is what it is. And we got two of them, as you can see here. I have him holding the other one there. So I mean, it's not that they're bad. They're just I mean, you just look at them and they're just something that just looks a little off. I think this, again, the bullet effect piece is just too big, in my opinion. Okay, so here is the cloak. As you can see there, it is all one solid piece. It would have been nice if the hood piece was a separate piece, but it is not. I really like the tattered look down here at the ends with the little cut-in pieces. That looks good. It's full-on textured, which I really like, as you can kind of see throughout. There's no paint or anything except for gold right here on the ends. But again, it does look really, really good. I really like the wrinkles and the folds of it because it makes it look like a very realistic cloak on how it would kind of float down. And then it just goes onto the figure. It just slips over his head like so. And the great thing is it actually helps him stand up a little bit better because this is the old suited body with those crap ankles and feet. So getting him to stand can be difficult, but he can just kind of rely on the hood to do that. But now let's take a closer look at the hood, the Parker Robbins figure in head sculpt. See, that actually, it looks pretty good. It's very comic accurate. It's just, I think the execution, I think it's more so just the body of it. You know, Stan Lee, Peter Parker, suited body. It's just kind of tough. The head sculpt looks okay. I'm just not the biggest fan of the screaming expression. Like, even looking at the artwork on the pack, even if it was a little bit more subtle than it is now, because this is like crazy scalper, can't find my G.I. Joe figures in the store type of look. It's just... It's super plain looking. He's super civilian like. I think a lot of people will probably just use this figure as a civilian, kind of in the background of some posts and things like that. Looking at the neck, it sits high on on the ball peg. It looks good from the front, but it's just from the side you could really see kind of the gap. The hood would completely hide that, so it's like, well, okay, well, he's the hood, so he's supposed to be wearing the cloak, so you can't see it. This is what you're supposed to see. So I get that. It's just kind of tough. The rest of it, he's wearing green pants, brown boots, belt buckle. We actually get a little bit of gold in that brown belt there. But basic, nothing else really going for it. 2 trigger finger hands for those guns. That's it. Now let's zoom out for his articulation. Okay, so we're going to talk about the articulation with the hood because you can turn his head and then put the hood on there, but you can't necessarily have it. I mean, you could, but then it looks kind of funky. So really, with the hood on, he really should only be looking straight out. And then the other thing is when using the guns, getting them to come out, because the cloak is designed to drape over his shoulders, if you put a gun out in front of him, it's going to push it up and it's going to look a little weird and not fit right on his head. So that's why the hood should have really been a separate piece from the cape cloak portion. So it is what it is. I mean, it's got a pretty distinct line. If somebody wanted to try and cut it around it, I think that can make it work. And it's not something that I'm going to try or anything because I know I would just mess it up. But, you know, I think that's going to be an option for some folks. He can do full swivel, of course. You get some crazy pivot in there as he's screaming to the target employees. You can get the shoulder to go up that high. You get a full rotation in there. Of course, you have an upper bicep swivel. You get a double jointed elbow like so. Wrists swivel and they do hinge. I think a vertical hinge would have been better than the horizontal hinge. He has an ab crunch, so he can crunch forward that much. He can crunch back a little bit. The jacket is going to hinder that, of course. You have a waist swivel there. Legs go out that far apart. He can kick forward that much. There is an upper thigh cut there. You get a double jointed knee like so. No calf swivel or boot swivel. Ankle pivot, peg holes, but those peg holes are crap because as you can see, the shoe portion is very thin. You can get some pivot going down. You can work the heel over the pant leg, but be very careful doing that. And then up just like isn't really an option at all. So that's why a lot of times it can be difficult to get him to stand. Although, in all honesty, he's actually probably the easiest of any of those suited figures to get to stand, and he actually doesn't need the hood to help prop him up, but it definitely helps. Okay, so bring on the bad guys. The Wave is looking pretty good. He's going to be my least favorite in the Wave, I'm sure. Arcade will probably be my second least favorite. But again, it is comic accurate, but it's just the body itself. I'm not the biggest fan of it. If they would have retooled maybe the younger Nick Fury body with the bigger legs and stuff, could be a little bit better. But separating the hood from the cloak really would have set it off. God, it's just kind of tough that you can't get him into super dynamic poses with that hood because, you know, looking at some of the artwork and stuff, you know, doing a Google image search, there's some really cool things that you would be able to do if somebody, I'm sure somebody will, they'll make a cloth version of the cloak, and they can do all kinds of crazy things with it blowing up in the wind and stuff, and so, I mean, people can do some amazing things with this figure, I'm sure. I am not amongst the talented few that could, but I'm sure, you know, somebody will. Keep an eye on Instagram. You'll probably find some crazy cool things. But there is the hood. Just an okay figure. It'll check off the list for some folks. The accessories are good. I mean, yeah, they're good enough. The guns are the best part, I think, and people are going to want those guns for sure. But there it is. You guys let me know down in the comments below. What do you think of the hood figure? Disappointed or still picking it up? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys liked the video, please do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And thank you. And as always, thank you for watching.